and welcome back to LinkedIn Logs, the jobs, the business podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in. Here we are, episode 71. If you'll excuse me, I'm still currently reading the last story I want to talk about because, quite frankly, I found the story about 13 minutes prior. It's 2:13. I meant to start recording at 2. I found the story 13 minutes ago. and I actually found two stories. I was scanning right through it. Here we are, back at it again, talking about. I was talking about jobs. I was quoting Vine before this. I was in a real 2009 mood. What's been going on today? This relates to this podcast. For the first time, I was at the dog park. I took Maverick. It's hot, so I took him early, about an hour early, and we get to the dog park around 11. I start talking to somebody who was there, and obviously, I start talking to somebody who I've known for the past couple of weeks. This nice older woman who has a fun dog, and all our dogs were playing, but. We were talking and we ended up on the idea of, work and business and everything. Turns out her husband used to work at Cartoon Network and she used to work at TNT. And there's people in television. And yes, you're wearing but it's still interesting to see. And then so she left. And then a couple minutes later, a guy comes in with his dog. Nice older gentleman, 65. He told me his age. He's like, I don't know when you were born, 1999? And I'm like, no. But thank you. I do look very young. But we were talking, and this is the first time this has ever happened. In my career, in my, what year is it, 21? In my 10-year career in television. 9-year career. I'm rounding up. The C Plus Comedy, I guess that counts. In my 13-year career, I guess so, yeah. 12. Anyway, in the 10 years that I've been working in the entertainment industry, or doing something in the entertainment industry, I've never met someone else who, besides people who work in the news, and even still, that's, in great passing. But I've never met someone else who also has worked in the industry. And given that this man is 65, he's done roughly 40 years worth of things. He said he used to be a radio jockey and all this stuff. But he's the one who brought this stuff up. There's a radio tower we can see from the dog park, or a television tower. And he goes, oh, that's WSB. And we start talking. And God, we talked about everything from radio spectrums, television spectrums, to broadcast networks, to local news, to all types of things. Truly the nerdiest things that if somebody was standing next to us, which everybody that was near us left. But if someone was standing next to us, they'd be like, this is, what are you dorks talking about? It was wonderful. It was fantastic. Bruce, if you're listening, don't know why you would be listening. You're a great guy. I enjoyed it. That's what I want to talk about. Anyway, moving on. But I ended up, I was going to leave. We got there at pretend 11:10, 11:15. I talked to that guy until 12:40 something. It's crazy. It's wild. Anyway, let's move on to the first story. Oh, and tomorrow this will be great because I can talk about this. For 72, I have a job interview with a real company. And it is for a real position. It's great. I'll mention what it is in the next episode, next week. But it is a real job. And the only reason I know about it is because I was on LinkedIn just letting all of the anger in me boil up for all these people posting these BS posts. And anyway, and somebody who is not in my network, who I'm not connected to, posted something about a job at certain company, Atlanta-based company, in a studio production job, and I went, let me reach out to this person. I guess it was referred to not the job, but the post was referred to me because the person that we're connected to together liked it. And I said, please, I know this person from Cartoon Network. See, we're both connected. can we just talk? I would love to talk about job. And then the person got back to me and said, hey, let's do an interview. No. First of all, the person said, do you have a resume? I sent them my brand new resume that all it has is it looks like a regular resume, but since I have 10 years of jobs and I'm trying to condense everything onto one page, all it has is like the name of the jobs and then a 1-sentence description of what I did. If you're hiring for truly for any job, if you're a recruiter, you're hiring for, or, you're somebody hiring for any job, and let's take the entertainment industry. Someone has been in and out of positions consistently, and they all matter towards the end product of the job that they're applying for. It shouldn't matter if they're descriptions that are fully detailed or not, because the last resume I had were fully detailed and not one person read that goddamn thing. I wrote and rewrote. Trust me, I did everything. So I said, this time I'm doing things different. And it's just the job title and a description. And I linked to my LinkedIn account. I said, there's my portfolio. It's chadcwhite.com, cpluscomedy.com, linkedin.com, Chad C. White, whatever it is. And then they said, without even saying good, great, yes, whatever, they just sent me a personal email that had a Google Team or Microsoft Teams or maybe a Google Meet scheduling for an interview for Wednesday at 12:30. So that's what we'll be doing, and that's going to be at least something to talk about. All right, let's move on. This comes from The Wrap, written by Sharon Knoll, 2 L's. QVC cuts 900 staffers and pivot to live social shopping. The layoffs come as part of the reorganization for the QVC group after consolidating with rival network HSN earlier this year. Yes, if you didn't know, QVC and HSN, the home shopping network, are now one. They were the only two fighting for views, but I guess since people aren't really shopping on television anymore like that, the QVC was able to purchase HSN. The reorganization, as they're calling it, impacts roughly 900 team members across HSN, QVC US, and their global shared services. The statement from the group on the company's site read, for many of these individuals, today will be their last day at the QVC group, which was March 28th. Some will continue working with us for several months, mainly to support the transition of the HSN broadcast and the St. Petersburg campus, which means that the broadcast frequencies of HSN, I can only assume, are moving over to are going to be ported over for QVC's purposes. Kind of like in the same way that T-Mobile took over they finally finished off with Sprint's radio signals, I guess, and moved everybody over to what's it called? T-Mobile. I'm on the QVC group page right now, reading the statement, and apparently they have 3 priorities with this new strategy. Wherever she shops is what it's called. Drive live shopping content to everywhere she spends her time. Inspiring people and products. Create the world's leading live social shopping content engine, inspiring human connection with incredible finds and new ways of working, lean into technology and continuous improvement to fund expansion onto new platforms and into new audiences. The inspiring people and products thing makes it seem like when when you go on Amazon or even TikTok Live or TikTok Shop or whatever, but you see on these platforms, it's influencers, people who are young, primarily young in their 20s, looking at a thing and going, "Oh, here this is a hard drive, and let me show you how it works. You plug it in via micro USB. It's powered off of USB-C. You can also use a USB-C to USB-C cable. It's got 500 gigabytes. You can spec it up to 1 terabyte and things of that nature." I assume that's the things that they're really aiming for, along with the traditional QVC platforms and whatever the live streaming they have on their website. I think Busy Phillips' show, Busy Phillips QVC, she had a QVC show has a QVC show that's on QVC Plus and HSN Plus called Busy This Week, which mixes a talk show with curated finds. It aired as recently as November 2024. So it's still going. Very cool. You can only get it on those platforms. I think I tried watching it once. Because it is in the vein. Because Busy had Busy Tonight. She used to be a late night host, but now it's now those things don't exist anymore. Taylor Tomlinson's gone from After Midnight, and CBS is going to just cancel the 12 o'clock hour. 12:35 hour? I think, yeah. I think it might be it. 12:45. They don't have to. They shouldn't. That show costs nothing, but they're trying to save money. Trying to get bought by Skydance. It's unfortunate that this has to happen. I don't know if this consolidation is going to be anything, but this company is based out of, I think both companies are, rather. They're based out of Florida, and I can't imagine what those staffers are going to do now. I mean, there are areas to work down there in television, but I wonder if a lot of people who are being cut are in the technology sector or in the business sector, and that it make an easy transition. But it's first of all, I know that transition is not easy, so I wish the best of them. Moving on, this comes from Matt Grossman over at the Wall Street Journal. U.S. hiring quits and layoffs were steady in February. Survey reveals that 3.2 million people quit their jobs at 2% rate that has fallen over the past 12 months because we are in a very unsure time when it comes to the job market, the labor market, because we have tariffs being struck up every other day at this point, because we have hints or threatenings of a recession from our leader. Oh my goodness. People are now leaving their jobs, are a lot less likely to leave their jobs. I don't know that's in terms of quitting. I know hiring has definitely slowed. As for the layoffs, we see those all the time. Even if it's a small number, we just saw the QVC laid off 900 people. The Labor Department announced today, Tuesday, that all that stuff is happening or isn't happening. And they're showing that an equilibrium of fewer opportunities, but also with few big staff reductions continued in the first full month of this current administration. I wonder, Friday will be the first Friday of the month is Jobs Friday, as penned by the good, smart reporters over at NPR. NPR's Planet Money and The Indicator and all that stuff. So we will see the full numbers to which Grossman is pointing at for the Labor Department. But the number of job openings, he writes, was steady in February at 7.6 million, although the number had been nearly 900,000 greater a year earlier. According to the monthly job openings and labor turnover survey, the rate of job openings, which compares openings of the to the number of workers, was steady at 4.5%. Hiring's also steady. The number of people who got new jobs was stuck at 5.4 million, a rate of 3.4%. That was unchanged from January. I wonder if that's just hiring. I also wonder how they count a switch in positions, and meaning that somebody gains, like they go from, I don't know, vice president to president. I couldn't think of anything else, because I know tons of people, especially on LinkedIn, who are over there like, I got a promotion. Promotion, that's what the word is. There's also no change in layoffs or quits. The survey said 3.2 million people quit their jobs, a 2% rate. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on. This figure has fallen over the past 12 months as the labor market cools and offers workers fewer new opportunities. And at some point, I don't know if this will ever, at least in terms for the entertainment industry, I don't know if this will ever be as great as it was a couple of years ago. Because as we'll get into in the next story, things are not going so hot for generations after these baby boomers. There's a lot. I just want to take a brief respite from this. The John Wick universe. I'm looking at emails in C Plus Comedy's email account. The John Wick universe is continuing to expand. It had a wonderful ending in Chapter 4. The first, as what they'll now be known as, the first 4 John Wick movies are wonderful. I could turn them on any day of the week and be satisfied. Same thing with Mission Impossible. Although Mission Impossible 1 through 3, they're just a little bit less bombastic, which means they're less entertaining for me at that point. Anyway, Chad Stalansky and Keanu Reeves have announced a John Wick Chapter 5. Donnie Yen is going to direct the spinoff about the blind assassin from the 4th movie. And there's a prequel, animated, starring Keanu Reeves. Oh, my God. Let this man, and I'm sorry if you haven't seen this movie, but it's 2 years old now. Let this man die. Let him be dead. We don't need a John Wick Chapter 5 and all this stuff. The TV show sucked. It had Mel Gibson in it. All right. And it didn't need to exist. Let's move on. This is the final thing. This comes from Stephen Kurutz at the New York Times. The Gen X Career Meltdown. This is a wonderful piece concerning anybody who is part of Generation X. Now, hold on. Generation X are people born between 1965 and 1980. They are after the baby boomers and before me, the millennials. I'm a little baby boy. Okay. What Kurtz is writing about here, and I really hope I'm pronouncing that last name correctly, is that anybody who is in that Generation X, they're experiencing something that is different from what people in previous generations have experienced. In that they're hitting middle age, but the job market is just horrible, as we have stated before. As I've stated before, now what Kurtz does here, they happen to feature a lot of people who are in industries that are in the middle of rocky terrain, including people who are creatives, people who are pseudo creatives, even if they're designers or copywriters, whatever, but just like non-businessy people. These are the people that chose to go into these career paths. Newspapers, newspaper journalism, magazine publishing, photography, film, TV, advertising, music, graphic design, like all that stuff. I was going to say photography again. More than a dozen members of Generation X interviewed for this article said they now find themselves shut out economically and culturally from their chosen fields. And it's true. I can only imagine what's going to happen in 10 years when a similar piece is going to be written about people who are born in my generation. In the wake of influencers, for instance, comes another threat, artificial intelligence, which seems likely to replace many of the remaining Gen X copywriters, photographers, and designers. By 2030, ad agencies in the United States will lose 32,000 jobs, or 7.5% of the industry's workforce, to the technology of AI, according to the research firm Forrester. Every generation struggles. The ones before the baby boomers had to deal with massive amounts of war. Same ones before that, or changing tides of war. Just imagine being the part of the generation that was born with World War I or World War II, or imagine being a part of this Civil War era. Imagine being alive today and still and fighting for the wrong side. There are a lot of people still doing that. The particular plight of Gen X is to have grown up in one world only to hit middle age in a strange new land. It's as if they were making candlesticks when electricity came in. The market value of their skills have plummeted. Imagine being a photographer, and this is what I was reading earlier from the same piece. Imagine being a photographer and making six figures and being the person to go to when somebody needs photography shoots. And while that still may be the case today, there's probably a punk kid out there who'll do it for much cheaper, The shedding of jobs and upending of long-standing business models have come at a bad time for Gen Xers. The cost of living has skyrocketed, especially in coastal cities, and the burdens of mortgages, children's college tuitions, and elder care can be the heaviest in middle age. Retirement isn't that far off, theoretically, but Gen Xers are less secure financially than baby boomers and lack sufficient retirement savings, according to recent surveys. He also chronicles a writer who was working for Spin at the time, which is like Rolling Stone. It's the successor to Rolling Stone. And this person had weeks to write thousands of words about whomever the cover stories were covering at the time. But now that's changed. We don't have magazines to advertise anymore. Yes, the internet has advertisements, but I mean, I'm using an ad block on my thing. And how many people really click on ads anymore? In the same way, in magazines, you pick up a Nintendo Power, you read through a Nintendo Power. Not only do you have articles about upcoming games, reviews about current games, you also have news and fan stuff and all that stuff. And then in between all that, you have ads. You have ads for Oreo cookies or Chips Ahoy, and you have ads for more Nintendo Power. You have ads for games. You have ads for everything. But as we saw in the early 2000s, people stopped reading newspapers and magazines, or that all slowed down because of the rise of the internet. Now, a lot of these places did try to remake themselves as with digital presences, but it's tough. It's tough. And then when you have younger, newer, probably more edgy places. The Kurtz references Pitchfork and how that came online in the same time Spin was, doing the same thing. People gravitate towards the hot new thing. And now, I mean, I want to guess Pitchfork is way behind. I don't read Pitchfork. But I welcome them. You're welcome. The same thing goes for advertising. In advertising, brands ditched print and TV campaigns that require large crews for marketing plans that relied on social media posts. Oh, they eschewed the cruise for social media posts. That started in 2010, along with Instagram. That's similar to what the woman and I at the dog park were talking about. How she remembers the days living in New York, working for TNT, having giant crews work on commercial shoots, which is what she did for the company. And now, you'll have some moron with an iPhone going out there, a moron with an iPhone and a $10,000 lens. Every time you see something that says, like every time you see like an Apple commercial that says shot on iPhone, they also have a lens that costs so much money. Costs more than probably what my car is worth. My car is worth something. I drive a Bentley. I couldn't think of anything else. I drive a Ferrari. Now, things are done remotely. People are paid a lot less for their writing. I know in terms of the current freelance position I have, I'm paid not very much for my writing. Which is fine. Oh my gosh. Now people in Gen X, and I would even say going up to the current days, a day of people of the kids in Generation Z, they are, and I said it very formally. They everybody after the baby boomers are experiencing similar realities. Where if yes, some Gen X people, a lot more Gen X people will own their homes compared to people in what millennials. I don't, is that Y? Yes. Then the Generation Y, and then people in Gen Z, they're probably not going to be able to own their homes. They're probably going to be working gig jobs for the rest of their lives. There's probably not going to be, or for a majority of their lives, there's probably not going to be something substantial besides the idea of being multi hyphenates, doing multiple things in order just to get by. As opportunities and incomes dwindle, Gen Xers in creative fields are weighing their options. Move to a lower cost place and remain committed to the work you love. Look for a bland corporate job that might provide health insurance and a steady paycheck until retirement. Who knows? It's hard, but again, I've talked about it before. I've spoken about it before. Pivoting is such a hard thing now. People are going to school for social media. People are going to school for niche jobs. And if the mass layoffs keep happening and AI comes in to take over a graphic design position, then where does that leave the people who are seeking out and actively trying to use the skills that they have? Now, they're not going away anytime at this point in time. But again, that 2030 estimate, be it an estimate, is still pretty accurate based on, or it feels accurate based on what we're seeing now. Now, the Creative Circle is a company that I do not trust. But it is a marketing and creative services company that I guess they also do recruiting, but they will email me periodically, hey, we've got a job for you with our client. It's there's only like from what I can tell, they are Atlanta based, but there's only like one or two clients that they could be working for. And I've gotten, in the last week, 3 emails from representatives at Creative Circle, each pitching me a job or with CNN, but each pitching me a job, and they'll give me calls. I'll see a Texas phone number or a Florida phone number, whomever their recruiter is at that point, and they're like, "Hey, Chad, we looks like you're a fit for this job, and it's mostly because this is it's not out of the blue. It's mostly because I have signed up with them before. Anyway, they'll be like, hey, we have this job with our client who is seeking a, like this most recent one I got 5 hours ago this morning at 9:04 a.m. I was on the bike. I was on the bike cycling, finishing up. No big deal. After leg day, no big deal. Solid 3 hours and 33 minutes this morning working out. That's what happens when you have the whole day. I have yoga in a couple hours, or whenever I want. They have a opening for a remote production designer. Now they won't tell me who the client is. The pay range for the job is $35 to $40 an hour. The duration is 9 months. Other jobs they've sent me have been like $60 an hour or whatever. And then they say, if this role interests you, here's what it is, blah, blah, blah. Here, and they show you the full job description, which has slightly more information, not much more, but slightly more. And in it, at least in this one, it'll tell you the key responsibilities, the qualifications, and then they have like a benefits. Anyway, but I'm not a graphic design person, and so I can respond to this if I want to, but otherwise I don't have to. Find a job. Let's see what they have on this. I'm gonna type in Atlanta. Atlanta, New York. Yes, that's where I live. And you can also search for what job title or keyword, the type of hours you want to work, freelance or full time, and the date that was posted, between just posted or the last 2 weeks, which is what I would like LinkedIn to do. Nothing should be over 2 weeks old. Nothing, like, even a month is too much. Even 2 weeks is too much, but nothing should be over 2 weeks old. And they give you a total for how many jobs they have ever. Right now they have 334 jobs for offer. And it's all different types of things. There's a marketing manager job in Deerfield Beach, Florida. There's a traffic manager job in Alameda, California. They say full answer, free time, on-site, hybrid, or remote. And then they also give the pay, which is great. However, the problem is the Creative Circle, they have offices, because I've been at the offices, for no friggin' reason. They asked me to come in, and then I went. And I did, I think this is prior to the pandemic. So I think they used to do like in-person interviews just to see if you, like, you know, if they were hiring for, if they were representing CNN or something, they used to, like, oh, why did you come in? And they could go in there and, you know, friggin' button up in some pants and a tie. And you're like, oh, I need this job. Now we do it from home where they could just say no or not answer you. Anyway. Yeah, but I went in. I don't know what I was talking about. But it's, you know, it's, what a time to be in that is unfortunately just so uncertain for everybody, even for people that it seems everything is fine. I can't imagine. What the shit is this? Oh, I'm getting a phone call. It's probably a Creative Circle. Anyway. Boop. Someone just posted on LinkedIn 2 hours ago that they're open to work and that they've been a public servant for 9 years, and they gave their entire resume on this. Posted 2 hours ago, 461 likes, 58 reposts. My word, if somebody would do that for me. Okay. I'm done. Listen, if you liked what you heard here, that I did dismiss that phone call. If you like what you heard here, they can leave a voicemail and I'll call them back. I love a good phone call, but they can leave a voicemail and I'll call them back. If you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people More recently, I just had a conversation. The good news is I've talked to a lot of people these past couple of weeks, for cpluscomedy.com, for the website, for whatever, not for work. This is, again, it's a portfolio. I do not make any money. The bad news is I don't remember most of it. Last week I just released Matthew Davis over there on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. So if you want to see a video version of that chat, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can also see a video version of this show, as well as the other shows, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and the Constitutionals, the Entertainment Business News Podcast, and the other interviews that I do for the website. They're great. They're fantastic. Check them out. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Facebook at C Plus Comedy. Follow me on those platforms at Chad Blackwhite. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.